Hello folks, welcome to our channel Jose. In today's video we are talking about air fittings or pneumatic fittings in case you're trying to put a little shop or you're buying tools and you're just trying to get some small amount of tools and they're pneumatic. Well, we're gonna show you that there's two types of fittings. There's industrial and automotive. So if you're trying to set it at home, you wanna use the automotive. So in case you take some of those tools somewhere else, you can use it in an automotive shop. And then there's the industrial fittings. That's why it can be a headache, because sometimes you have a hose, but you cannot plug it into a fitting because it's a industrial and it's automotive. The one you have is automotive and the other one is industrial. So that's why we're going to expose this so you don't run into these small headaches, and it's a pretty cheap fittings, and that way you buy the right fittings for your shop, and that way all the tools are just one fitting in this automotive, which is the most common. And with that, let's show you what we're talking about. So then you start buying some tools, some little blowers or some little nozzles and things like that for your shop, and then you need the adapters to hook them up to the hoses. But if you buy the wrong adapter for the wrong fitting, now you have non-compatible fittings. So then you have to go back to the store and figure it out why this fitting doesn't fit onto that connector. So what you have to understand is that we have female, male, female, male, but these two are different than these two. Even that they're female and male on this end, this other end, they're industrial and automotive fitting. And we're gonna get you a close look on what we mean by that. So there's those two types of fittings out there in the market that you can buy. Most common one is the automotive, because you can take, in case you get a tire inflator, you can have your own personal one in your car. In case you go to a shop and they don't have it or it's bad, you can hook it up and it should be automotive fitting. This is industrial. So let's get you a close look. Why do they change? So this is the industrial side. As you can see, it's a thin ring going around in both of these, and this is the industrial. These are the automotive. They changed. They don't fit. The adapter for this one will not fit on this one, so we're going to show you in a little bit. So this is the automotive. So in case you have tools that you can take to a shop or to a friend's house and he has automotive fittings, now everybody is going to be able to use the same hose or same equipment because you guys have the same fittings. But if you got industrial, it's a little harder to work on shops that have automotive tools or equipment. So in the other case, if you have industrial equipment, this will be the fittings. So that way you don't mix in your shop. You want to keep them all one automotive or all industrial. But for us, we'd rather have automotive because it's more commercial, it's more out there, it's more common. So we buy all these fittings in automotive so we can have all the tools and hoses and equipment in the same fitting, and they all work together, and they're compatible. So industrial, automotive. Here we have the industrial coupler, and then here we have the automotive coupler. They look the same. They look the same just from looking right now, but inside they're different. Another thing, the main thing is that the industrial, you can put 300 psi through onto this fitting, and the automotive is just rated for 150 psi. So if you're running more than 150 psi, you also want to go with the industrial. But if you're just running a regular 150 or lower pressure at home, then you want to use the automotive. But the main difference on the industrial and the automotive is the pressure that you can run on those fittings. Another thing is that you cannot use industrial coupler with automotive fitting. They won't slide in. It just won't go in. You have to have or use the industrial on the industrial coupler. That's why there's two different adapters. So the main thing is that one can run 300 pounds of pressure and the other one is only 150 pounds of pressure. That's the thing. But now with the male and female, they came with this coupler that is a universal brass coupler. On this one, they don't say how much PSI you can run, but if it's industrial or universal, but I wouldn't run 300 pounds of pressure on this, because these, it takes both fittings, then you don't know if it's gonna actually stay in there or it's gonna pop out. So this one you can run the automotive, and you can run the industrial. So it's pretty handy, but we don't know how much pressure we can put into this fitting before it pops out. So if you want to go for sure on a high pressure, go with the industrial. If you're going lower than 150, go with the automotive, or use the universal. And the universal came out because a lot of us were buying fittings and we were not paying attention. If we were trying to hook them up to the couplers, we were running into the problem that we already had spent money in these fittings. So now we ended up with a bunch of industrial fittings, and we had a automotive coupler. So now they came out with a U, which it takes both fittings in one coupler. So that's one thing that they came out with, is universal. So if you want to build a shop, you want to go with the automotive, but like I said, if you're running high pressure, you want to go with the industrial. And well, folks, we wanted to expose these simple tips that can make a difference when you're buying tools for your garage or for your shop, because if you keep them all automotive or industrial, that can make a big difference. So that way you're not fighting that this doesn't fit here, this doesn't fit here. So you're just keep it one simple and then uniform fittings. But if you're using more than 150 pounds of pressure on air, on pneumatic tools, or a pneumatic, you want to go with industrial. But if you just stay within 150 or lower pressure for your shop, automotive fittings are just fine. We expose this info, these tips, because we learn as we go, and then that way you don't spend money and then find out that you didn't need those fittings. So now you gotta go buy the different fittings, and you can return, or you end up with fittings that are useless for your shop. So we're trying to get you to avoid that kind of scenario, because we've been there, and that's why we expose these little simple things that can make a difference. So next time you work on your car, you're gonna have all your tools ready to go, so you're not fighting all those fittings and connections that they're not compatible. So for those folks who are watching our video and haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. If you like our video, give us thumbs up, share it, and we'll see you soon with more videos here en el canal El Chano José.